Welcome to Attican Plays Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. All right, hi, this is Attican, and welcome to Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic, Series 4, Episode 7. And in this one, we're going to start off by going through a lot of the comments that you guys have been making, recent comments, and we're going to set a goal for this episode. I have a personal goal for this episode of having another train. I know it's not much of a goal, but we want to have another train running, delivering. We want 2 trains coming out of here delivering our fuel in bitumen. And by the way, I'm just going to call it bitumen from now on. It worked before, so I appreciate all of you trying to teach me how to say it, but I looked it up long ago, and I'm just going to call it bitumen. It works. We know what I mean. All right, so I want a train dedicated to running fuel and a second train dedicated to running bitumen and going down to Molna and kind of get rid of the truck traffic here. And so that's my personal goal for this episode. We'll see if we get there. But I do want to go through some of the things you guys have said. First, the easiest one, maybe sort of easiest, is Carlos said, I need to get rid of these trees in the city. And I agree. First of all, up high, man, I don't know what happened, but they look awful. And you get down here, they sort of kind of look like trees again. But if you remember when I planted them, I said, man, I hope they don't come in so thick. You just go from nothing to this dense, impenetrable forest. Unfortunately, we're back at the impenetrable forest. And also, unfortunately, there is no tree removal. You know, I love the fact that this game has a specific delete for track and a specific delete for power lines and another one for roads, and paths, because that can really keep you from deleting stuff you didn't mean to delete. That's really useful. There isn't such a thing for trees, so I'm just going to have to go in here with the old bulldozer and start cleaning out some stuff. And I'm not going to take out everything, but I would like to really clean this up a bit and carefully get rid of some trees. Whoops, right there, I think I deleted a path on that. It's kind of a path to nowhere right now, but still. Make sure we don't get that path. There, I just deleted a road, didn't I? Who didn't see that coming? All right, let's put this back in, if we can. And now, because I deleted the road, I've got a path there that's in the way. I knew this wouldn't be easy. Let's take this out of here. Let's get rid of this tree. Oh, there's more road. We'll get rid of that tree. Get rid of that. We can leave some trees around this. All right, let's put our road back in and build our paths back. And this will make it easier for us to see another thing I want to talk about. And our paths. Don't know if that one gets used, but we'll put it back in. All right, here we go. Here's one that we've all noticed. If we complete this path right here, that may come to roost here in a second. We may see the need for that one. I'm going to throw a path right there for the same reason. Looking down the road a little bit. And where else? I'd love to get rid of some of these trees too. Not all of them, but just a few of them. Whoops, that was more than I meant. Well, you have to be careful, and careful is not one of my strong suits, if you haven't noticed. No, I don't want to demolish the building. There, that'll do. That looks much better. Now we can kind of see into our city. And I have to tell you, probably I'm going to tend to not put in trees and the decorations a little bit until we get everything figured out, because we need to be able to see what we're talking about. Because to me, the mechanics are much more important, certainly now. Well, for me, always, and I would think for all of us, the mechanics are more important than the pretty stuff until we have this game figured out a little bit. All right, so that was one. Take out the trees. And yes, Ritz Matt, I do think they were glitzing. I don't think they're supposed to look that weird up high. In fact, let's get rid of some of those. Let's thin these trees out a little bit. Okay. All right, so that was the first one. Second one, the train schedule. Thanos mentioned the train schedule because we have workers that are coming into this platform, and we have the trains are going like this. They go, and let's call this the university, downtown, and refinery. So they go downtown, refinery, downtown, university. And as Thanos pointed out, we've got workers coming onto this. We allow workers, and that's it. But we could have workers picked up and taken over here. We really don't need that to happen. We want workers picked up here to go to the refinery. So that's one thing. And another thing is, well, what else? Well, that was the main thing. And, the other thing is, if we didn't have this stop at all, if your stop was actually downtown, refinery, and then all the way over here to university and back, then the trains would actually be a little faster, because they would take out that stop between refinery and the university. They would just go straight there. They would pass through the station, but they wouldn't even slow down. So, assuming there's no traffic there. So that's a pretty good idea. But I want to talk about, I think this is as good a time as any for us to talk about the mechanics of how these stations work. We've talked about it some, but let's just go into it a little bit. So first of all, you can decide what type of person you want on your platform. This is bus or train. You can have workers, passengers, and students. And they all have very different purposes, of course. Workers are, you guessed it, going to work. So they're looking for a place to work. A passenger is a person who's trying to go get their needs satisfied. They're trying to go shopping. They're trying to go to the hospital. They're trying to go have a drink. That's the kind of stuff they're trying to do. Students are, just as you would expect, they're trying to go to school somewhere. So the way we've got this one set up, only workers can get on at this station. Now that doesn't mean other people can't get off here, but only workers can get on here. We've got this one over here set up for workers and passengers. Now our students, if you're going to be a student, why wouldn't you go to this school or to this university? So there's no reason for students to leave here and go somewhere else. But passengers, definitely, that's the main purpose for this one. We want passengers because we want people to be able to, from these flats, to get on there and go downtown and do their shopping and hospital and cinema and what have you. And workers, we want workers coming out on this one as well, because that just can add to the number of people we have coming up here. So if we don't need them down here. Now they'll tend to, what they'll do is, my observation, you guys tell me if you've seen something different, but a worker, so let's say there's a worker coming out of this flat, that person will say, okay, can I walk to a place to work? And they've got options here, and they've got a couple options over this way. And if they can, they will. They'll go walk in a place where they're qualified to work, and they'll start working. If not, they'll jump on the platform, a platform that would allow workers, in the hopes that they would be taken someplace to work. In our case, they could be taken to here, and it'd be interesting to see what they do after that. We may have to follow somebody. But that's one aspect of it's the stations, but the other aspect's the trains themselves. So this train right here, where we've got Viral train platform, that's this guy right here. This small town small is the refinery. Here's back downtown, and then this Vera small or VROV small, however you say that, is our university. So you can see it's downtown refinery, downtown university. Well, when we come back to this one right here again, what we can do is say, okay, right now it doesn't matter because only workers are going to go there to be picked up. But we can set it up and say, okay, don't take any workers. And for now, we can say don't take any students, don't take any passengers. Basically, don't even load. If you've got anybody, you can unload, but the truth of the matter is you won't even have anybody unloading because nobody ever comes back from work. Have you noticed that? They just don't. They don't come back. These trains are empty when they come back from the refinery. So and this is what Thanos suggested, we don't even need this stop right now. But let's go back and say, okay, let's look ahead a little bit. There's going to come a time after we get our university going down here that we're going to want to be able to have people here get on a train, hop over here, and go to university. So these people can get a university education if they so choose and if they're qualified. So that's where we would leave this one, and we would say, okay, don't take workers and don't take passengers because you don't go over there to get your shopping, but do take students. So the train coming back would pick up students, and of course what we would do at that point is we would go to our station and turn this back on so that students could get on there. So when we're ready to have students coming from this area, we will turn it on at the platform so so students can go to the platform and wait, and we will turn it on. We will have this line in here, the station that picks up students and then unloads over here at the university. So that's the deal, but I do agree with Thanos for right now. We really do not need that stop at all. We'll just go downtown, refinery, university. And we're going to copy that route and put it on everybody if we can. I think we have 4 total trains, so that's only 3. Where's the other one? 1, 2, 3. Oh, there it is, hiding on me. 4. Now it'll be interesting to see if that copy worked. It did. It worked on that one. That one's good. Good. And that one isn't good. So let's try this again. We will copy to that one. There we go. Now we've got all 4 of the trains. We've taken that extra stop here out. So thank you, Thanos, for that contribution. And remember how we're going to do it when we're ready when we feel like we really got a university here and we can afford to have more people go to it from this area, we'll turn that back on. All right, so there's number 2. Now, the next one is Antiquity Car and Ritzmat, and I'm going to butcher this one, so forgive me, Rafe Razak. The 3 of you have all made comments to the effect that by putting in more pathing, which you saw I just did, we could, quote, solve the problem of these people being able to walk to shopping. Now, the truth is, okay, remember this one could. We knew that one. And I think this one could originally. It still can. And then this one here, number 12. Now 12 can. I think he could too. It's this one was the first one that couldn't. And he still can't. So I would have to do something else to improve it. Now we could do that very easily, of course. We could, for one thing, pave this road, give them a sidewalk, make this a faster walk. Apparently walking through here and around and through is just not fast enough. We could put a path that ran along here like this and gave them a faster walk to get over there. But the other thing is, this isn't a problem that needs to be fixed because they also can just walk right there. They can go plump, and we've got good train service to take them right there, which would then put them right where they need to be. So yes, we can, quote, fix it, but it doesn't even need to be fixed. This guy cannot make it even with the change. And I'm just curious just to see. I don't want to spend the money to pave this. I don't think that's necessary right now. But let's do this. Let's put a footpath running kind of parallel to the road, like that, and like that, and like that, and build that out. And let's just see if that made any difference. No, it didn't. They just won't quite make it. But again, as I said, doesn't matter. They'll hop on this train right here, and short ride, they're there. All right, so so that's that. That's the footpath deal. All right, so let's get on to the main topic of today's episode, which is getting us another train. What I want to have is another train hauling bitumen down to Malden. We'll have one dedicated to fuel, one dedicated to bitumen. I have found that having dedicated trains or dedicated trucks hauling those two products is better than trying to just have a train come in there and randomly take whatever it can grab, because you'll have tanks to get partially filled with whichever one the refinery is not producing so much of, and then you'll have these long waits while enough of that gets produced to fill up the tank. So this guy right here that's on his way back, he's going to be hauling fuel the whole time, and we want to have a sister, well, I called him a guy, so a brother, we'll have a brother train for him to work. Now to a comment from Johnny Hughes. Johnny, like me, is also a Machinke player, and Machinke uses the same signaling system, basically kind of really simple signals. And Machinke really, my impression is the game is all about how you lay out your tracks. That's the whole game. So what I want to do, I had actually contemplated, I actually started to do this, building a bridge over this line. I want this line to run free. I do not want trains coming down screen to influence or slow down trains going up screen or vice versa. I want these trains moving. These are passenger trains. Speed matters. So at the same time, I want to be able to use this same depot and move a train over here to give us another train, and for future freight trains that we might need, or passenger trains, or whatever that comes down the road. Now we're probably, I suspect we will switch over to electric trains at some point. I don't mean this area. This area near the refinery will stay diesel because it's already set up. But you know, as we expand out down the road, down years ahead, so to speak, we'll probably go electrified. But right now, we've got what we got. And what I want to do is come up with a way to get across here and feed into our fuel and bitumen distribution system without screwing this up. And we talked last time at length about how just making any kind of connection makes a block out of both directions. So we're going to, based on Johnny's comment, it kind of inspired me to come up with a different way of doing this. A little bit different. Some of you probably already thought of things like this. What we're going to do, though, we're going to hook up our line from the depot. It's going to come down, it's going to get onto this track, and it's going to cross over, and it's go down, so that should work perfectly for getting a train over here. But where it could mess us up, of course, is that now we've joined this track right here with this track right here. They are now a single block from the point of view of these trains going up and down the screen, our passenger trains. Well, the way we're going to fix that is we are going to pull a line off of here. And the first, actually, I wish I'd done this first, but I'm going to take this road out of here for now. We can fairly easily put the road back in, but it can be a pain when you're trying to build complex track. and a road is involved. So we're going to build a line that goes, let's find a good place to hook it in. We're going to get a nice smooth connection. There we go. We're going to build a line parallel to this line that crosses over that one, if it will. Come on. Oh, come on, you go. Oh. We're okay. That semaphore's in the way. I don't mind that. We'll take out that semaphore. We're going to cross over and then gently kind of curve back in. So now what we've got here, instead of just two parallel tracks, instead of thinking of this line as going across those two tracks, I'm actually thinking of it as going between the two tracks. And I'll show you why that's an advantage, because now what we can do is we can put a signal here that says you're going to go on the right. We can put one here as you're coming into the train station. It says you go on the right. As you're coming out of the depot. As you're coming out of the depot, you're going down this line right here. Actually, excuse me, that needs to be two directions, because you could come in or go out the same way. We're going to have a two-direction semaphore down here, and now here's the key that makes it work. We're going to have signals in here. They're not going to be one directional, they are going to be two directional. But if we have signals, well, if we have this signal in here, then what that does, it's going to cut off this connection. And well, let me finish off. It'll be easier for you to see if I finish it off. We're going to delete, if I can delete, we're going to take out this track that used to be our left-hand side lane here, if you will. And we're going to take out this, well, I'm going to have to let this, oh, now I got a confused train. I've got a confused train because I cut it off. Crap. We have to, shoot, I didn't notice that. I just did not notice that train sitting right there. He's in an awkward place. Oh, shoot. Let's lay him just enough track to let him get out of the way. Go, buddy, go. And I'm going to let that train get through, and then I'm going to, here comes another one. This is getting busy here. It's hard to do this, so I need it clear. There we go. Should be clear right now. All right, so we do not need this track right here. That was temporary to get that train through. All right, so now what's going to happen is when it, and I see we wanted to get rid of this track back here too. It's not, this is not necessary either. Okay, so now by having our crossover actually be a cross through and just basically creating some width here between the two tracks, we have the ability to set these trains to ignore the middle track here. So a train that is in this block, now he's also in this right here, but because we've got a signal here, he's not going to impact this block over here and vice versa. So that's all good. Now I see one thing that I find weird. Need to figure out what the deal is with that. But see this signal right here? I don't understand why it is red. We've got green coming down, it's all beautiful. We've got green for our two-way track, for our freight line. We've got green coming up this way that looks good. This one's red, which makes sense. There's a train right there. Is there a train hiding in the trees? Ah, yes, there is. There's this train right here. So let's just put another signal. We don't have to have it, but we'll put a signal right there, and that'll make that one green. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So famous last words, but that should work. So let's run that for a second and watch a couple of trains go through here. Good. Now here we go. Here we got some trains coming up here at the same time. And you see it turned red in the middle there, and this turned red, so train couldn't cross, but the trains could go through just fine and maintain their speed. All right. So now we've got a simple way to get trains across here. The only time there'll ever be a tie-up of passenger traffic is just when you'd expect it, when a big old freight train is going through here. And that's not going to be very often. That's just going to be new trains when they come out. All right, so thank you, Johnny. All right, so now we have the ability to put the train out there. Now all we need is some money. And what's it going to cost us to do this? It is going to cost us the cheapest diesel available. Now, why the cheapest? You could say, well, you could get a faster one, 100 kilometers an hour, or more power, whatever. Well, we're not producing fast enough to warrant the faster engine. Unless we get to the point where these trains actually can't make it back here before there's a full load again, then speed is not our issue, and having a train that runs just like this and just that load is fine. And if you notice, this one is probably pulling out full right now, isn't it? Yes. So it's pulling out with 475 tons, and what does the factory have? Well, the factory has 150, so we'll see if it gets back in time. I may bite my tongue here. But the big thing is we need the money. So let's first of all, let's assume the cheapest one will do. Now, we may change our mind. But we got 52 for that, and cargo, I'd love to run 10 of these, which would be 160,000, so 210. So we need a couple hundred thousand rubles in order to invest in a new train. Oh, and look, you think this is working? We've got 483 workers in here. No wonder we were building that up quickly. All right, now we're starting to have, all right, there's hope for us. I was getting a little discouraged at how slowly the economy was developing, but we're getting there. We are truly getting there. All right, so I'm just going to let this run and make some money. I'll try not to spend any money. I think you guys have the idea of what we're trying to do, how things are going, and I'll come back when we have some money accumulated up here. If I do anything, it will be how are we purchasing? I don't know how do you tell what you're buying? I don't know how to look there and just see. Now, let's see. Are we importing anything with dollars? Probably just food. Yeah, the usuals. Our basic supplies over here. Everything else we're doing in rubles. Our dollars are looking a little better. Let's go ahead and import our alcohol in dollars. That'll save a little bit. And the oil is, it's going to be tough, particularly if we're going to have 483 workers. That's going to be tough. And this will be a good test. We'll watch this guy and see how much fuel we've accumulated at the refinery and in this tank when he gets back. And if it's more than a full load, then we could think about upgrading him to, well, a couple more tanks would be nice, and a faster engine. But you're talking about a lot of money to do that. So it has to be financially worth it. There has to be some benefit to having that faster engine. Because if a slower, cheaper one will get down there and back fast enough, then it's good enough. That's the basic notion. We're at about 330 tons of oil, or fuel rather, right now. And our guy hadn't made it down there yet, so, And I just reminded myself of another one I wanted to talk about. See if I can remember who it was brought up. Oh, yes. Damageo and Dennis both commented on the university or school, and you know, how could we get more professors in there? Well, obviously, if we had people assigned to work there, or maybe even to work in here, because we got people in the schoolyard, and maybe from a flat that was assigned to work in those two places, that would be a good thing. And we could certainly do that. We could build a smaller flat, an extra one, but we don't need it. We've got a flat right here with nobody in it. So I think let's just. I'm gonna have to hit pause for a second. I want to think for a minute, and I'm a slow thinker. All right, what I want to do is look at our people stats, and I want to say, okay, we have 108 university grads. Do we have them where we need them? There's 108 people with university degrees, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places that need those grads. So how many did I say? About 100, let's call it. 25, love to have 25 grads kind of spread to each of these for now, so that we can keep the schools functioning, the hospital functioning, and the university functioning. So 25, 20, so we would need like 50 people over here in this area, 50 university grads. And man, I wish they would, goodness gracious. We got 4, 24, I'll tell you what we're going to do. The easiest way to add them up, I'm going to grab all the college grads. I'm going to grab college grads from here, move them into this flat. Then I'm going to do the same thing here. And here. Now, how many do we have? 14. Boy, this interface can be a little clumsy sometimes, can't it? Okay, I want to grab college grads, move them there. Move one person there. 5 people there. We have 30 people, and I'm going to tell the people who work in this flat, I'm going to assign them to work here and here. And for right now, we'll do 50-50. Let's see. Down here in this area, we've got 2 schools. We'd like to have 50 down here. We got 15, 5, 5. All right, let's just do the same exercise. How much room we got? 99. All right, we're going to take this flat and make it university grads. Now, this is the kind of micromanagement some people love. I do not, but I want to do it because we got to be efficient with this, and it shows you how to do it. And for now, we're doing this, but there will come a time when we'll have enough university grads that we won't have to think about this anymore. That's our ultimate goal as far as education goes, is to have enough people with education that we don't have to think about this kind of distribution. But when you first start out, the game is harder, and you've got to kind of think about stuff a little bit. I want to assign this flat to work here and here. And I'm going to move you over there. This flat, why wouldn't it move? All right, so we got 47 university grads assigned to work in these two. Our school should be fine. And we want to make sure that we have 25 at least, if not 30 people, university level, that can go to the hospital. Now, a hospital, the way we've got it, we've got it set at 10 and 10, 20, we need 60 people. That's not a whole flat. I don't want to assign a flat to it. but I do want to have a little concentration of university grads near it. So let's take the university grads from this one and move them over here. And from this one and move them over here. That's 9. We already stripped those. So we're strong, right? We should be solid with these schools. We should be a little weak there. We could use some help right here. And our hospital, 9. That's not enough. All right, we'll bite the bullet. Recruit 10 college grads for this to live near the hospital. And here, what did we say? 50, 30, and we're going to do we're going to do 10 more here that are assigned to work in these 2. That should help us along the way with our university degrees. Okay, now I can go back to running. And I could have left it running, but I didn't want to get caught up in that and then kind of blow right through my goal and waste time. So we won't see it right away because the people have just moved, but we should start seeing more professors showing up and start getting more people into our classes. We were at 6 when we made the change. Now we're seeing kind of 8 and well, 9 and 10. There we go. 10. There we go. It's getting better. We're getting more people actually into the university. That is a complete waste when you have people coming over here waiting for professors, because that means that's 20 some people. Let's just look at one of them who have an education level where they are perfectly capable of working for us. They could be producing. They could be working in the refinery or the cinema or anywhere. It doesn't matter. They could be producing for us. So our train is back. 140, 240. Yeah, I see it's falling behind a little bit. That's good. Well, that's good and it's bad. We're probably going to want to upgrade it, because we're becoming more efficient. We're getting more workers over here. Our population, frankly, is growing. And I'm hoping also we can get in the mode where we're not doing a whole lot of people importing. Where we're not paying to bring in immigrants. Wow, there's that weird. Don't those things look weird from up high like this? Really weird. Okay. All right, we did the thing with the university. Is it helping? No, we got less teachers. Less teachers and nobody working in the school. That's a little disappointing, isn't it? Now, we know we're understaffed. I mean, 40 college grads is not enough for these 2. You need, if at level 15, we would need 45. And at 1890, we'd need about 100 university grads to really see these 2 rock and roll. So while we've been good about staffing to drive up this number, we need to now do better on driving up our university number. Now, of course, having a university is the first step in getting there. Okay, I'm going to have this train go back to the depot. And the depot is different now. You go, I think this is different, but anyway, you go to the depot and then you select which depot to go to. He's empty. We're going to have him run on down here, and we're going to. I don't want to sell. I could just sell off the train, but we would pay depreciation on those tankers, and they actually work just fine. There's nothing wrong with them. So we're going to keep them, add some new ones, and upgrade the train, and have a faster fuel train with more power. Hopefully it'll improve our throughput on our delivery of fuel. And then we'll see kind of what that costs, and that'll give us a baseline for the other train we want to add to the mix to do the bitumen. Let's see how this works. Should work just fine. Yeah, see, it's going to slow us down a little bit till he can get across there. That's not unexpected, but it's not the end of the world either. Okay. All right, so we're going to sell that locomotive, and then we're going to buy a diesel locomotive, 95, 90, 25. I wish they gave you more stats on this, like how much this was got. I mean, wow, that's expensive. 191,000. Looks like we can just get one more on there. That's about all we got. Okay. Your line is going to be to go here. Fill up completely with fuel. Then go there to Molna and unload completely. Fuel and start. He just gets across with no problemo. All right. Going to top off with fuel. Now he's ready to go. Okay, now how are we doing here? Now see, we're getting ahead on bitumen, and that's the last thing actually we want to do because that stuff is worth a lot of money. But adding more trucks in here is probably not going to help because there's, you know, as soon as one's ready to go, there's another one coming in right behind it. So we've got it pretty much maxed out. I mean, we might be able to add one or two more, but there's no point in having a big queue here that's not gaining us anything. And we're getting really low on the rubles. We need this guy to get down there and make us some money. Now that looks better. 10 professor certainly looks better. Up to 11 and dropped off. Maybe we'll start actually having some university grads. That would be nice. All right, I think it's time we switch over to dollars for our oil imports and accumulate some rubles so that we can get that second train. And what's that puppy going to cost us? This is going to cost us a lot. Couple hundred plus, I think it would be 9 cars. How many cars? Yeah, 9 cars. 9 cars. So 9 tanker cars, 140,200. We need about $340,000 to get that second train going, to get the bitumen going. Now, obviously, we don't have to have a massive one right off the bat, but you can, and bitumen is not produced quite as fast as the fuel, obviously, but at the same time, I like big trains. You know, what can I say? And in case you're wondering, how in the world am I going to make this work with 2 trains? In due time, we'll cover that. Most of you've already figured it out, but you'll see. And this little deal here is working beautifully, I must say. So thank you, Johnny, for reminding me about just moving the track apart from each other. So see, that train just went right on through, didn't even, barely even slowed down. All right, so we'll watch this bitumen, and if it keeps gathering like this, what we'll do, if we can't afford to get our next train out there just yet, we will add, you know, in fact, I think I'm just going to do it because we're close to that number. We're going to take this train that we've got going right now, and we're going to say, okay, add a stop, go here, and of course go here, only this time fill up with bitumen and unload. And in the meantime, what we're going to need to do, which we would have to do anyway, is set up our connection from our fueling to the bitumen tank. And we can do that, I think, fairly easily by coming out of here. Now notice that we've got a pipe already existing, but if we just put them at a different level, they can cross over each other. You can cross over the railroad track with no trouble and flip it around. Well, that's kind of ugly, isn't it? I didn't like that. Shoot. I didn't like that last bit there. I have to admit that's a lot easier from the other way. Let's start over. Oh well, not pretty. And we built it just in time for him. Now he's filling up with bitumen. And that'll be a very profitable run right there. All right, so we're almost ready. I'm really disappointed the number of professors I'm seeing in here at times. We lost one. I suspect we had a death. Wouldn't shock me, but our schools are working fine over here. This one's working, look at this, working fine. Our university is okay. I think I'm going to bump up the percentage, send a few more people to the university than to the school. And we're getting close to our magic numbers for buying our next train. So let's go ahead and put in the track that we're going to need. We're going to need a small connection. Shoot. Well, shucks, we're going to need to I thought I was okay on that. I'm going to have to knock that down. It's expensive. Don't like that. And put in a short rail. If we don't do anything else, let's get that pipeline back so that we can continue to make rubles. Oh, are you kidding me? Lesson learned there. Build the track first, then build the thing that has to go over it. I actually thought we had enough clearance. Let's double check the length of this train after it gets in here. It should fit in that just fine according to my measurements. Yes, it will. Beautifully, beautiful. So our next train can fit in right here next to it and be loading. It can come in here and go into either one of these platforms. But that's not the big issue. It needs to come back this way. So what we're going to need are a couple of passing lanes, and I'm going to put one passing lane all the way at the end or close to the end, maybe right in here, and we will do it. We'll use our 6-ton rule. We'll come off, then we'll go 6 tons like so. Let's do a little extra just to be safe. Come back in. For those of you not familiar, the 6-ton rule is the measurement of the longest train you are allowed to run in the game. And if you could do 6 tons of steel with this particular piece of track, you'll know you've got a long enough piece of track to fit that entire train in here. And then we just need simply a signal here to say drive on the right. One there. One here. And one there. And there's our, oh, I did that in dollars. I should not have done that in dollars that far down. And now watch what he does. In fact, this will be, I want to see this to make sure we've got it long enough. Yes, see how he can fit completely between those two signals? That is vital, because if we had a train here coming back, if he was sitting in there and he was hanging out over the end of this, that whole block would be occupied and our train coming this way would never move. So that worked, that's beautiful. And let's put another one maybe kind of midpoint. Roughly. Let's give it a good 6.4 for safety, like so. And make sure we build that one in rubles. And we can do one, that really wasn't the midpoint, was it? We can do one out in here would be fine. And actually that should be, that's all we need for now. In hindsight, I should have put all of these on this side because they slow down a little when they take this. And it'd be better to have them slowing down when they're empty, when they don't. I was wondering why he's going so slowly. It's because I'm running it slowly. Would have been better to have the straight shot the other way. So just mental note for next time. Passing lanes on the side, on the return side, not on the going outside. Not on the full side. Well, you know what though, never mind. Eventually, right now this will matter, but eventually this train's going to be full coming this way as well. He's going to be bringing oil in from the Molna oil fields down the road. Oh, you know what we need? We do need a chain signal here to separate the trains in the station from a train out here. Because otherwise, if we had a train in the station and we didn't have these, then a train could be right here waiting to go, and this block would appear to be full because this block would then extend all the way in to include all of this. But by putting these semaphores in, we've cut it off, and now it should work fine. So what did we say we need? These things only get more expensive. It might even be good to just buy it. 192. We'll go for that. We'll just buy them as we have the opportunity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Want 2 more. We're this close, we might as well run the whole thing. And that next shipment that's going down there to sell off will buy this train for the rest of this train for us. Need one more. Do we dare? Do we dare? Let's get it over 30 and then we'll dare. Okay. Now with that train, I'm actually going to copy this train's line. And inadvertently shut everything. And then I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to edit his line and say, you actually want bitumen. And you actually want bitumen. Unload bitumen, and then you want to start. And he gets through there with minimal interruption to our service, so good deal. And let's see if this one goes in as planned to the other side. All right, why didn't he go? Why didn't he go? Stop. All right, so this train, notice there's just this little bit sitting on this right here, so he thinks that this block is full. See how that one turned green? I'm going to do the same thing there. That's because this train was, well, it didn't matter. The fact that these two tracks were connected is what caused this semaphore to go red, because this train was in these two tracks, and in the game's mind, this track, since it's connected to this one, is the same as this track over here that our fuel train was trying to get into. Hope that makes sense to you. Now we've got a train loading up with fuel and a train just oh, what's the problem? Oh, I blew away that bitumen hookup. Can we afford to build it? Oh man. Oh man. Okay. Well, it looks prettier this time. Ooh, we can afford that. Okay, now he's filling up with bitumen. Fuel train's pulling out. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's stop right there. We're spending our money as fast as we can make it. Perfect. That's just what we should be doing. And we've made great strides. We're October. We're in our fourth quarter of our second year, and we're starting to have a little base economy. We've got a university going with still marginal success, but we just need more university grads. We can't afford to just hire them in. We've got to homegrow them, but we've got the mechanism for doing that. As it gets more effective, then we'll start doing that. We're making progress on our chemistry research so that we could think about chemicals and getting into the clothing business, chemicals, fabric, clothing, and starting to supply things for our people. We now have two very nice trains set up to deliver fuel and bitumen and make us some rubles in Molna. And I think that's a little bit of progress. So we hit our goals. We covered some good things. Keep the comments coming. They are great. I'm learning a bunch from you guys. I hope you're learning something as you play this. I hope you're enjoying this, and I hope you'll join us for our next one. I think that's what I say on the outro, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player, and I hope you'll join us for our next Workers and Resources Soviet Republic video. Thank you.